All right, then. Hi, everybody. Happy to welcome you at this event today. Just a few more minutes. We have time to gather around. You still have time to call all your teams and your leaders and your partners for them to be here too. And I can tell you that every Thursday, as part of our academy, we're going to have some informative videos that are going to be really useful for you and your partners and for your results. So today's a new format, and if you can hear me, if you know me, please type in the chat. Now, I'm going to try to make our talk as interactive as possible. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. We want you to be involved in that process that we have here. So please type in the chat. I'm going to open the chat now for you to be able to type there. Hi, everyone, once again. Tell us if the chat is working all right. Yeah, everybody can type in the chat. It's working. So based on our tradition, tell us which region you're from, which country, because it's international and we have many partners from different continents. And today it's being translated into two languages, English and Turkish. So see, even on the webinars, it's online, it's international as part of our academy. And that's really awesome. Odessa, Ukraine, Greece, Odessa, Novosibirsk. That's really cool. Another few minutes, and we'll be starting the event. Let's give it another couple of minutes, and then we'll get to starting the event. I am on Bali. My name is John. I've been the partner of the company for about a year now. I entered as an early investor. I bought tokens at pre-sale. I have subscriptions. I have a team I really like to develop with this company, and it's really, really awesome. So then, I'm seeing that the number of people is becoming more and more. I'm sure there'll be more people joining, and this is being recorded too. So if you couldn't be there from the very beginning, then you'll be able to see this recorded. But at the same time, I'd like to tell you that when you watch this online, right, in real time, then you get all that energy from the speaker and you get charged with that enthusiasm, and that helps you build your business better. So today, I'd like to structure our meeting in an interactive way so that we could talk to each other through the chat. I'm going to ask you questions, and I want you to be as engaged as possible because it's an interesting topic. And this topic is going to open up for us how we can make money today. We'll talk about all the possibilities and all the opportunities that we have here. And we're going to discuss it on some live examples. You can suggest your example and we'll study that case so you can understand how all of the accruals happen in the company, how the funds get allocated, and I think it's going to be interesting. So if you're ready to start this event today, then please throw some fires into the chat, some smiley faces. That way I know that you're here and that you're involved, and I know that we can start. So today we'll have some slides we'll be drawing on the screen so that somehow we'll be demonstrating and displaying those examples. We want you to be as engaged as possible, so listen attentively. We'll talk about the whole marketing plan and everything that goes with it. So the most important big first question while I'm putting the slides on, what sources of income do you know on our platform? So in your opinion, what are the income sources that we have on our platform? Please type that in the chat. Let's get involved all together and have it a dialogue. So waiting for your messages in the chat, and we'll be speaking to each other. So what are the types of income that we can get on a platform? Let me give you a little hint. I guess one of the most important sources of income today is the subscription that we all know and love. Oh, is there a delay going on maybe? Tell me if there is a delay because I'm asking you things and you're not replying. Is that a delay or are you guys just, is that just a human factor? So we've got subscriptions, staking, referral, rewards. Does anybody know what else we've got? What other ways of making money? Bonuses, you must mean the patch bonus dollars. Referrals, holding. Yes, all of that, what you've mentioned, we do have on the platform. Some people are just earning off the growth of the exchange rate of the token, growth in value. Some bought at a very early stage and their funds have multiplied. Some buy subscriptions and make times two the amount. We've also got classic linear marketing or direct sales based on this referral market. We'll talk about a few examples of how accrual happens. Indonesia here. That's great because I'm also in Indonesia on Bali Island. I actually flew to the event first to get the best spot in the first row to be able to see all that firsthand. Yeah, it's great. We're actually having an international event. NFTs, you said that right. We've got a limited connection of NFTs, which is going to give you an ongoing constant income to the owner of that NFT. It's great that you know the project and understand it. And that's great. So let's talk about this now. Let's try to remember how the funds allocation takes place, everything that makes its way into the platform. And 20% of the funds that make it to the platform are allocated to referral rewards, 40% to fill the subscription pools. We'll talk about those. And 40% is the company's income. And that number is also divided in two because half of that is brought back into the locked part and half of that 40% remains as the profit of the company. And whatever funds enter the company, they're always divided into this 20, 40, and 40. So you should understand that. And all of the profits of the company are allocated like this. So let's refresh our memory a little bit about the subscriptions once again. And after that, we'll go over to the actual marketing system and we'll see on live examples how accruals happen. So see, we've got 4 subscriptions. Some people call it staking, so they call it different things. But what I personally like is that when you buy a subscription, and we all use different kinds of subscriptions to whatever services, but only here, buying a subscription, you get income from it in dollar equivalent. And from the amount of your subscription cost, you can earn that times two. And that's great because when a person earns double what they invested, talking about me, right? When I earn double what I invested, I start to reconsume that product, the subscriptions, because I see the future of the project. I see where it's going. I see how it's going to develop. And I understand that every dollar can bring me $2, which is actually pretty awesome. So there's actually 4 subscriptions, 100, 500, 1,000, and $2,500. So each of these subscriptions has its own specifics, and we'll talk about that now. Now, you see it in dollar equivalent here, but actually all the subscriptions are bought using patch tokens. And the total tokens to be issued is 1 billion, 97% of which are locked within the smart contract. And I think all of you know the principle of how these tokens are getting unlocked. And we'll talk about that too today, but we're going to focus on marketing. Now, some good news, and I like to keep saying that, and you said it in the chat too, that as an income source, you also have these patch bonus dollars, which also give us double the amount in dollar equivalent. And when you earn these patch bonus dollars, you have an opportunity to buy subscriptions with a discount of up to 30% if you use your, actually not a discount, but you can pay for up to 30% with patch bonus dollars. Now, filling the subscription pools, as I said, 40% of all the funds of the company are used to fill the subscription pool. So every time somebody buys a subscription or there's a transaction from buyer to seller or from seller to buyer, every time advertising is bought, the money is allocated evenly between the four pools: Start, Standard, Gold, and Platinum. Today, we already have examples of how subscriptions are completed. We already have examples of completed subscriptions, and even those who have bought them again. Let's talk about, I guess, the main specific characteristic of these subscriptions. That if you own the Start subscription, then you only participate in the allocation of the Start pool. But if you own a Standard subscription, then if you have a Standard subscription, you participate in the allocation of two pools, your Standard one and the bottom one below at the start. If you have Gold subscription, and you participate in the allocation of three pools: Gold, Standard, and Start. And if you have a Platinum subscription, then you participate in the allocation from all the four pools. And we're seeing a different dynamic today, because if we look at the statistics, then the number of subscriptions that people own, and actually a lot of people own Platinum, because everybody understands the way it's lucrative for them. But actually, people have also bought a lot of Gold and Standard. And I can tell you that for about a month now, it's been a month since we launched it. And there are accruals taking place with a different rate, because every next subscription people buy, 40% of that is allocated amongst these pools in the same way. And another interesting fact is that it doesn't matter which team buys a subscription, the Turkish one, the Indonesian one, or the Ukrainian one, or somewhere in Europe, in Africa, they buy a subscription. It doesn't matter, because 40% of the amount of the subscription is being allocated to these four pools. So if you own a certain subscription, then the accruals happen for you. And you can very easily exchange these funds to assets you like to use. So it's very simple. And in the near future, right, some insider information, very soon, there will be news that has to do with the launch of the mobile app. And that is also a certain stage that a lot of us are waiting for. And moving into that new stage, we'll be making new history. So that also is quite awesome. So the project is developing gradually, and these subscriptions, I think, already have made some noise on the market and people know about them. And those leaders that from the very start were negotiating with a company, and we're talking about that you guys, once you launch, will be connecting and joining as well. So we're negotiating with different leaders and network people, network marketing people, people from the crypto world. We're starting to get the attention of people already, because it's a payment service that pays you. There is no analogy to that in the world nowadays, and PayChanger has a big future ahead of it. As our CEO, Sergey Moskalenko, says that in the future, when we go and join some business like a restaurant or a cafe, wherever they make payments in the future, they'll have a pay changer logo there on the door, just like Visa and MasterCard, and that's where we're going. And pay changer is not just an opportunity to earn money, but it's also a service that gives you a ready-made solution that helps entrepreneurs develop and get a new paying audience and to popularize cryptocurrency. And it's not a secret for anybody that there becomes more and more people in this industry with every passing day, and there's more businesses in it. So there is a need in taking crypto payments in the future, as we said, based on our roadmap. There's going to be a crypto payment terminal, which will facilitate crypto payments. And that is actually pretty awesome too. So with accruals and subscriptions, I think you guys have figured it out. If you know everything about subscriptions and accruals, please put a fire in the chat. That way we know that you've understood this topic because we've talked about it many times now. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you that's important is we have an opportunity, right? Each of us have an opportunity to launch a demo version of the subscription. For instance, you have a $100 subscription, but at the same time, you want to see, right, to buy that subscription possibly in the future, you want to buy maybe a $1,000 subscription so you can activate it and see with which rate the allocation and the accruals happen. That's actually a great tool to have if you recommend the business to somebody. That allows them to kind of see how the project works without investing real money. And when they see the accruals, then they see the opportunity they missed out on. And so they go and join your team, and the company pays you a referral reward. And I'll remind you that for referral rewards, the company spends 20% of all the company's funds according to its marketing strategy. So let's also talk about how we double our invested money, because a lot of people ask you, right, when you tell them that you have subscriptions that get new audience to join the company and allow people to make money off of it. People always ask me, where do you get that double the value, right? From thin air? Where do you get that from? It's actually pretty easy to explain as long as you understand and know where this times two is coming from. So let's talk about this whole story once again today so that each of you understands it and is able to convey it to others. So the first thing is the company's profits, right? From the subscriptions that it sells. So number two is from those locked tokens. When you buy a subscription, apart from all the accruals, right? From selling new subscriptions, there's also a staking going on from the locked part of tokens where 90% of the tokens are locked in a smart contract at a rate of 16.67%. You start to get accruals of that. And number three is just a growth in the exchange rate of the token. So for instance, the value of the token is such today, and you buy a subscription, for instance, you get 30 tokens. Tomorrow, the value of these tokens, it becomes more. So you get less tokens, but then in dollar equivalent, it's still the same. So an exclusive offer on the market, right, of PayChanger is that we are strictly tied to the dollar equivalent, because there have been many examples in the market when you get tokens accrued to your account, an exchange rate goes down and down and you don't earn anything. But in this case, it doesn't matter what the exchange rate is doing. You'll be getting your money until you've got your double the money in dollar equivalent. That's actually some pretty cool tokenomics and a great idea to be tied to the dollar equivalent like that. And we're seeing by the number of people that are joining on a daily basis, we're seeing the success of that on the subscriptions, and that's very good. So let's talk about the algorithm and how all of this happens. So let's say you're buying tokens, right, for $2,500, for example. You buy the platinum subscription, then you start getting accruals on a daily basis from the company's profits, from the issuance of new tokens, from the exchange rate growth of the tokens. You get your double money, and then your subscription is complete. And as we said, 90% of the users will reconsume these subscriptions. But as we're seeing today, all the 100% of people who have completed their subscription, they go out and reconsume that product again. And for marketing, actually, that's pretty cool. Imagine that you have a team of people, right, who you create that team with. And once the subscription is over, they reconsume it, and you once again get your referral reward. So that's pretty cool. It's like classic marketing. On top of that, you've got the idea of a product company where they reconsume the product, right? So they've united these two concepts here, which is actually pretty awesome. Now, let's move on to the most interesting thing. It's what we haven't talked about in a while now. We've talked about subscriptions quite a bit. Now, let's talk about career and marketing, about that career status, that level that you can reach. And I'll repeat here, it's classic linear marketing, which isn't limited, not in width, not in depth. And here you earn for individual invitations, and you earn the difference in percentage between you and your first line. And what else is taken into account to keep moving on that career ladder? It's the turnover of all your structures. So what does that mean, all your structures? For instance, in your first line, you can have 4 people. So on a little example, we'll talk about that now. So in your first structure, you have $10,000. In your second line, 20,000. So your whole turnover is put together, and then you have $60,000. So $60,000, that's level 6, and that'll be 11%, and you'll be earning the difference between you, if you have 11% and you have 4 structures, for example, and from every individual in that, you'll be getting a difference in percentage. For instance, in your first structure, the person you invited has 9%, you have 11. So for each registration that happens in team, you'll be getting that 2%. That's actually pretty cool. And in terms of marketing, and you can earn from all the depth, and you can grow to 20% and earn off that. So let's talk about that in detail. I'm gonna switch the slides up now so we can, in real time, on an example, see how that works. And I'm sure that, you can ask questions as well. So we'll be talking about your cases, or we'll try to answer your question. So look, please type in the chat if you see my screen. And let's look at this case here. Right, you see my screen. So I tried to display a structure here. Like, let's say we have Dimitri here at the head of the structure. And let's say Dimitri has 4 personally invited people in his team. That's Peter. The red one has a subscription of 1,000. Maria, orange, has a subscription of 2,500. Nikolai in yellow has a subscription of $1,000, and Oksana has a subscription of $1,000. So when Dimitri joined, doesn't matter what his subscription is, right? Somebody's saying there's no screen. It's 50-50 right now. People are saying they see the screen. Some people are saying there isn't one. Okay, we have the screen, so we can see it. So it doesn't matter what amount you bought a subscription for. If you have nobody in your team, right? Remembering this table here, you have 5%. So your 5%, you'll be getting the difference between you and your first line. So let's say you connected Peter for $1,000, you earn 5%. from the 1,000. So $50 in patch tokens. And I'll reiterate that we earn everything in patch tokens. And then you can go and convert it to the assets that are interesting personally to you. All right, we can see it. So I'm not going to get distracted with the chat for now. So let's say you earn $50 in patch tokens. So your turnover became $1,000. Remember, a turnover of $1,000, you become first level, so you get 6%. Then you go out and connect Maria. Since Maria just joined the business, you already have 6%. Maria joined with $2,500. You're earning 6% off of the $2,500. So let's count all together. Let's count all together. How much is 6% from $2,500? I think it's like $15. Once again, $2,500 minus 6%, 150. Sorry, so 150. That way you've made 6% from the amount of 2,500. So total turnover, you have 1,000 from Peter, 2,500 from Maria, so 3,500. So your percentage goes up from 2.5 becomes 7%. So you'll be getting 7% from your first line. Then Nikolai joins 7% from $1,000. That's $70 in patch tokens. All right, it's all in dollar equivalent always. So for Nikolai, you got 7%, that's $70, plus 1,000 to your turnover as well. That way, we've already got $4,500 of turnover. To go to the next level, you need 5,000, but you have 4,500 for now. So you've got 7%. Now, once you connect Oksana with her $1,000, see, she also bought a $1,000 subscription. You'll be getting 7% from Oksana. So $70 too. And now let's look at the depth. All right. Now I counted 4.5 plus 2.5 plus 2,000 plus 6,000. That's everything you see on the screen. I put it all together. And that way, Dmitry now has 9%. If he had a structure like this, now let's see on a case. If Dmitry has 9%, Maria just has a subscription of $2,500, and she's getting 5% because she doesn't have a structure yet, and her turnover hasn't grown yet. So let's say Maria connects a person to $1,000. What does Maria get? She gets 5% from the 1,000. Why so? Because she connected a person to her first line and made 5%. And her turnover becomes 1,000. And that is how her percentage goes up. So from her second registration, she makes going to be 6%. So let's see what Dmitry earns. Let's see what Dmitry earns based on if Maria connected this person to $1,000. Maria made 5% from that 1,000, and Dmitry earns the difference in percentage. He's got 9%. Maria's got 5. So 9 minus 5 is 4%. So for this registration that happened in Maria's team, Dmitry is getting 4% from this $1,000. And the accruals happen in patch tokens. So please type in the chat if that's understandable. This career growth, how the turnover happens and how your percentage increases. If that's all clear, then please type in the chat something like okay or thumbs up, and we'll talk about some different examples as well. Those that you probably have are questions that you had. So can you tell us in the chat? Are we going to talk about this compression? For instance, when somebody's subscription ran out and they didn't have time to renew it, or something happened with the registration, or somebody bought a small subscription, somebody bought a big one. Let's talk about those cases. So let's get rid of these numbers here. Although, let's keep the percentages just as an example. So let's say Dmitry has 9%. Maria, for instance, let's give her 7%. So Dmitry is getting the difference of 2% with Maria from those registrations that happen here. And down the line from Maria, you've got a person with $1,000. Let's say they've got 5%, 5% because they connected a person to $1,000. So let's talk about this now. Dmitry has Maria. For instance, Maria's subscription ran out, and Maria didn't quite have enough time to activate a new one, but this person who's down the line from Maria has 5%. His subscription ran out too, but he bought his subscription. But Maria did not buy a subscription, so we're going to get rid of her here. We don't have her here. So what's going to happen then? What happens is a compression. So it means that if Maria used to be my first line, and now it's, I don't know, Vladimir. And since Maria's not here yet, until she buys a subscription, Vladimir becomes my first line. So it's this kind of compression that happens here. Since the compression happened, I'm starting to get a difference in percentage. I've got 9 and this partner has 5, so I'll be getting 4% from that amount that is part of the structure. So once again, we had 3 people here in this line: Maria, Dmitry, Maria, and let's say Vladimir. And Maria had 7%, Vladimir had 5, and Dmitry had 9. You can see that on the screen. So Maria's subscription ran out. She failed to see it, so she didn't buy it. She didn't activate a new subscription, but Maria has people in her first line, and there may be a structure under her. So once Vladimir reconsumes the subscription, and he's got 5%, Dmitry is going to earn a difference in percentage between Vladimir and Dmitry, so which will be 4% is what he's going to get. While Maria and her subscription are inactive. While she's inactive, she doesn't get the accruals. So if Maria's subscription were active, then she should have gotten the accrual, but she didn't buy it. So at that moment, when under her you have a structure without an active subscription, she isn't getting a turnover in her structure. But once Maria realizes that she's losing out, and she remembers and she now has an opportunity to reconsume the subscription, she buys it again, and that turnover that she had before, it recovers and it becomes 7% again. And as a result, then, for instance, we have another person join to $500, and Maria gets the difference in percent to 2% here. Dmitry gets the difference between himself and Maria. So that's an example. Is that clear? Do you understand this compression principle now? Another important fact, I guess, is we've heard this question many times. And where does this money go when Maria is inactive? So she should have gotten a referral reward, but she doesn't get it. In that case, the tokens remain in the smart contract. They just don't exit the smart contract and they stay with the company. So give us an example that you would want us to discuss now, or maybe you have questions based on this scheme that you see on the screen, and I'll try to, in real time, discuss your examples. So Maria isn't getting money only for Vladimir is the case, is the question. So the answer is Maria isn't getting anything until she renews her subscription. Once she does, she can get the difference between her and Vladimir. So Maria can connect a second person into her team, and let's say $1,000 worth, and she can get 7% from this thousand because based on her career status, the percentage is higher. So for each new connection, she gets that reward. So another example, right? For instance, Dimitri up top here, let's say he reached 20%. And once he connects into his first line another person, he's going to get 20% from that amount. For instance, you have a person who joined to $1,000 in patch tokens, and Dimitri will get 20% from that 1,000. So what is the principle of this whole thing here? So you've got Peter's structure, Maria's structure, Nikolai, Oksana, and this new person. So let me read your questions now. If Maria forgets to buy a subscription and she buys it again, does she still have the 7% or does she start from 5? No, she still has her whole structure and she has her 7% again. Next question is Maria's subscription. All right, I apologize here. I have a little problem reading some of the words because I don't speak Ukrainian, but I'm going to try to understand the meaning here. So, guys, sorry, I just don't understand what it says there. People from the team, if you can translate that. So, the next question is can Maria buy the subscription ahead of time, 2 days ahead? Yeah, you can have as many subscriptions as you wish, like 5 or 10 or 1 to $1,000, 5 for 500, as long as one subscription is active. And at the same time, your turnover, right? The sum of your assets and subscriptions is not taken into account with the turnover. So for these career statuses, we only take into account the turnover of your structures. So those who are down the line from Maria, do they continue to get their percentage? Yes, everybody who's down the line from her still gets their percentage. So let's draw a little more. We've got Vladimir and down the line from Maria. Here, I don't know, you have Galina. Under Maria, you also have, I don't know, Anatoly. Under Galina, there's also somebody, a large number of people. So let's look at a larger structure now. So Maria has 3 people in her first line. So if Maria is disappearing when she didn't buy a subscription, then Dmitry starts to get the difference in percentage between her first lines in him. So there's no Maria, just a blank space. And Dmitry, until Maria recovers with her subscription, is going to be getting the difference in percentage between him and the Vladimir, Galina, and Anatoly. But Vladimir also gets a difference between him and her first line. And it's the same for Galina. So coming back to your questions. All right, I already answered that. Those who are down the line from Maria, we answered that. And Maria can have any subscription. That's right. It can be $100. It can be $10,000. It can be different. So what subscription should Maria have? That's the translation of the question. Doesn't matter which subscription Maria has. but it just has to be active all the time. And second, her structure needs to grow because the more turnover of her structure, the higher the percentage she gets. But the higher the percentage, the more that this range between Dmitry and Maria diminishes. But a big life hack here is the wider your first line, okay, the more structures you'll have putting together into your overall turnover. And that's actually pretty cool because the following situation can happen, right? Let's look at this example. An example like that. So let's say you only have one structure. You only have one structure, maybe a big one. Not going to do any numbers now, but just going to explain the logic. So let's say Dmitry, for example, right? Under him, let's say $25,000, which is $25,000, and that's 10%. So because under him, he's got 25,000. So Peter, let's say Peter, right, has a subscription of 1,000 and Peter has 24,000. In accordance with this, all right, you're only seeing this one thing. I want you to see my whole screen. So see on the left, this table here in the screen, you probably see the screen as I do. And let's look at this example. For instance, Peter here, Peter has a structure of $50,000. That's a larger one, just so you understand, 50,000 and 11% he's got. It's 11%. So $50,000 of turnover. But at the same time, Peter has his own subscription to just 1,000. So that way, Dmitry has $51,000 in his structure. And that also is 11%. So this is that case when this interval becomes more and you need to do more work. Because see, at the moment when you have the same percentage like your first line, so Peter is earning money here because he's got several people in his first line and all of this is put together and he gets a certain percentage. But if you have 11% and Peter also does, then you won't be getting anything for these new registrations down the line from Peter. So your task, right? These intervals, 25 to 50, and then you just keep moving. So this number keeps increasing. So I can tell you, the more people you have in your first line, the faster you'll be able to make it to a new level. So just imagine that Dmitry will have one more structure here to $50,000. So let's say he has this structure, $50,000, all right, 11%, but your turnover, right? If this is 50 and this is 50 and these guys have 1,000 each, then you have $102,000 of turnover. And from 100,000, you're getting 12%. So that way, you'll be making 1% because the difference in percent between Dmitry and Peter and the new person is only 1%. All right, I think we figured this out. Let me come back to your questions. If Maria decided to do no more subscriptions and exit the project, who's going to become the first line of Dmitry out of Maria's 3 first liners? So there's a compression and they all become his first line. So how much does Peter have if we have 3 people in the team? How do I know who has which turnover? Well, see, the statistics will be in our personal accounts very soon. And you'll be able to see what turnover there is in which structure. We launched just recently, and we're still tweaking everything so you can see that in your personal account. The next thing is if a person in the first line has more percent than I do. I already answered that question. The wider the shoulders, the stronger the arms. That's a great quote. That's about our marketing, right? But at the same time, I'd like to tell you that however wide your first line is, it's very important to work with the depth, because on the depth, we might have a lot more people than you can do in your first line. Because I don't think anybody has to forget the power of network marketing. If you invite 2 people and they do all the same thing, right? You invited somebody in your first line, then you have to ensure that your first liners also have people under them and just teach them how to convey this information. So this marketing is very good working with a mentorship format. So you as a mentor help your first line do the same thing. And as you scale, I don't think it's a secret that every person only has 24 hours in their day. But if you have a team of 100 people, then imagine the number of man hours and production, productivity, and how it increases and what you can do together. There will be a recording. I think it's going to be in a good, convenient format like our community managers do for you. They always have something interesting going on. So you have a turnover. John, do you have a turnover so you could be part of the August event? Yeah, so you could be part of the event. You must mean the promo. Yeah, I'm participating on the same terms as all of you, but the only difference is I don't need to fly anywhere. I just get in the car and drive to the event. Right, a turnover is $35,000. Let's remember this, that we have a promo until something July, and you have to have at least 35,000 in your downlines. So I can, for instance, have a turnover of 34,000 and have a subscription of 1,000, and that way I fulfill the requirements of the promotion. What's going to be there? This promotion. It's going to be a huge international event where we'll have all the leaders from all the countries. Number of seats is of places is limited. I'm sure that we'll be showing the roadmap there where the project is going. You'll be able to learn all the news of the project, and you'll be here in beautiful Bali. It's a lot of interesting things here. Most interesting thing is that August is probably the best month in the year here. It's not hot, it's very comfortable, and I'm very happy that it's going to be Bali and not Dubai, because in Dubai it's twice as hot, it's dry, it's sandy. So Bali is going to be much more comfortable. And I'm sure that everybody that comes here, they'll leave this as a new person with new information, ready to do new big results. All right, let's do another fast little example. And we're not finishing. We still have something to talk about, because that's not all the income sources that we have to discuss today and that we need to focus on. So looking for villas, right? To book, right? It's the highest season now, and housing may be a problem. So kind of straying from the topic of marketing a little, but I think we talked about some good examples today. about the percentage that we get and everything. So let me stop the screen share and walk away from these structures and we'll move on. So what are the marketing specifics, right? What's important for leaders on the market today is that the project is decentralized. And that means that you are creating a structure today, and that structure will forever be tied to you. So it's not going to happen like some person joined then from somebody else. You can't transfer people if registration's already happened, a transaction happened. This person will be connected to you forever. The project has great tokenomics, and I think that's a great advantage for all the leaders in this market because many of you have some experience when a company develops and it reaches certain results, then the company can just cut off some income of that person. In this case, it will be impossible to do, and nobody can take this away from you. That's a great advantage. And I'm thinking that the world is moving towards decentralization. And I hope that we'll be a role model company that shows some very fast growth. So, what else apart from decentralization that I'd like to tell you? All the sales are put together. The bigger the structure, the higher the percentage because it's all being put together. Now, rewards payments are taking place, and you got tokens based on a smart contract. You can exchange them, these tokens, to assets that you're interested in using MetaMask or Trust or any other decentralized wallets out there. We're on PancakeSwap too, so it's very convenient. You can look at the exchange rate, watch the transactions. I guess the day when we have the most sales is Friday because tokens are being unlocked based on vesting to those who entered at an early stage. And it's kind of like sale day when you can buy cheap tokens. And besides, if you watch the so-called order book, then usually the sales are taking place in small amounts. But when people buy a subscription, the exchange rate grows in an interesting way. So still we need some more time and everything is still in our future. We're all going to try to get to this event because after this event, the speed of your business will increase drastically. And another important thing I wanted to tell you, if you're coming to the event after all of these procedures, after the event, you'll be so inspired that you'll be making great results and you'll be making results for your mentor. But if you come not alone, but come with your team, and these people will be doing the business for you. That's how it's always worked. And network marketing just develops like that from event to event. So keep joining all of our events, especially offline ones. So what other tools we have here to scale business? I think everybody can find something for them here. So training and support. We're testing a lot of different formats, constantly making some tweaks and interesting events. And I'm sure that our community manager team will be happy to provide information to you. I think you like being with us, and I think that's mutual. So, tools to scale us, like our community space, which is also a source of income, actually. So, ratings for the most active ones and rewards. That's going to be another opportunity we'll have is to be able to get in the rating, and the company's profits will be allocated to those people that make it in the rating. Once a week, the rating is updated. There are several factors taken into account to get in it, because why the company chose this way of working is for the leaders to be working in a devoted manner. So thanks to being able to be in these ratings, you'll be motivated to do new things, but you'll also be getting recognition from that because there's a large number of people with different needs, and some people have a need for recognition. And this is exactly the place where you can get recognition and satisfy your needs in that. And that's very good. Promos, trips, travels, some gifts. I know that in one of the teams yesterday, they actually had a giveaway of an iPhone, a new iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you'll see it in the chats soon. I know that different structure leaders have launched their own promos, and that's really awesome when leaders show their initiative, when they create an opportunity, additional motivation for their teams. It's also really cool. Let's talk about our community space bot too, where you also can earn additional patch bonus dollars, which you can then use in this whole ecosystem. You can currently use them to buy subscriptions and pay up to 30% of their cost. So let's try to remember how you can earn these bonuses. So when you share a link to our community space bot, for which actually the giveaways happen too. During the giveaways, you can also participate, but the giveaways are in a different format. So not today. So those that were here the whole time just to be in the giveaway, the news for you is there's going to be no giveaway today. But just to remind you, you can earn 5 patch bonus dollars, which will turn into double the amount in dollar equivalent. And $1 when you can subscribe, when you share the link and somebody subscribes, you get $1. And when they approve their registration, then that's another dollar. And 2 bonus dollars you can get when you're present at webinars where you need to input the 2 codes. You can also get $2 there. And when you do the training that we have in the community space, you can also earn 1 bonus dollar, and altogether that'll be 5 bonus dollars, which will turn into 10. Now, in the chat, another thing people have mentioned as an income source. Where's the chat now? What I'd like to remind you of is that since PayChanger is a payment service that unites 2 parties, the buyers and the sellers, at the same time, the buyer and the seller can be anybody, any participant, any person living on this planet. Doesn't matter where you work. I don't know if you're selling courses or something, providing services. And it's not just with physical payments. I'm sure that's going to develop very well in online payments too. So you just send a QR code to a person, they use it to pay. So you transferred from USDT to your account very fast. You can convert that. So that's why those people that make transactions, there's also a reward for that. And if you invited a person that makes either a purchase or a sale, you'll be getting 1% from that turnover. And that's also pretty cool. I'm sure that soon enough there will be an instruction on how to work with merchants, how to work with businesses. But right now, there are these opportunities that we tell you about. So, drawing a little conclusion here, summarizing the biggest, I guess, the most profitable income sources on a platform. Let me turn this off now and summarize a little. So currently on the platform, there are several income sources and everyone can find something interesting for them. I guess the most popular one, the most profitable one is the subscriptions. And it's also the marketing plan, the linear marketing plan that helps you make 5 to 20% on the difference between you and your first lines. So what else I wanted to say in the end here, just a second here. I want to tell you that yeah, well, I'll say it, I can, but I'll do it next time. So this Saturday is going to be an AMA session, which I invite you to. I want you to be there so that you know all the news that we've got, all the updates. So make sure you pin our Telegram chat and go ahead and subscribe to our social networks. Use the demo versions of subscriptions. Use the testimonial channel or review channel. It's going to also help you build your teams. And that is it from me for you. This has been John Adler, and see you again.